Welcome back, everyone, to Random Thoughts. Coming to you today, not just with Fright Night action, but Fright Night Finals action. The Super Bowl, if you will. We're going to be talking about Player Himself going up against Vazy for the title of Fright Night #2 champion. Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future. So look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random Thoughts. So now, on with the show. So we're jumping into Ergo. Let's see how it goes down. All right, so we get players starting off with a Gravedigger opening, which is actually somewhat of a rarity on this map, especially breaking that particular block. The answer from Vazy here is Snowball, which I recently unlocked. Shout out to my Snowball fans. Snowball is awesome. Snowball's taken the top center point, which I've been forcing it a lot since I opened it recently, unlocked it recently. But we're getting a player special in Venus. Venus could be pretty interesting on this map if you can get it into some key locations, namely the center point, maybe this traversal path down here. Traps could change the tide of the battle, we'll say. But unfortunately for our blue player, this Gravedigger has broken a block, taken a space, and that's basically all Gravedigger usually does. It's shockingly fragile. So we get our first trap, and it's going up here to try and protect the Gravedigger, I guess, or prevent this invasion path. Now, since we got the spit from the Snowball, this jar is actually safe for a little bit. This is a 546 damage Snowball spit to a 520 health jar. So the jar will go down once that fireball is back online. But our orange player is elected to just pull back almost entirely to a much more defensive position, covering the center point, the neutral point, and then having the Gravedigger break their own set of blocks to allow a little bit more freedom of movement. It's interesting that both players elected to break these topmost cubicles as opposed to the bottom ones that people typically do, so you get a straight run at the bottom. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter that much, maybe for other 3-move Phobies, but given this Snowball's on the board, orange probably doesn't care. And we haven't seen a Snowball out of our blue player yet, but maybe that's in their book. Now we get a boom follow-up and a cowbell. Clearly these are just intended to sacrifice their bodies for the team, as it were, in order to get the other obstacles. Now player is in chat, which, by the way, if you want to see some live Phobies action, come on by the live stream, RTChompGG over on Twitch, or hit up the Discord in this video description. The player's saying that breaking the bottom one is usually awkward for them. The movement is real weird after that. I could definitely see that. I could definitely understand it. The only time where I think it would matter, like I said, is the 3-move, where a Snowball could come out, hit this spot, and then spit immediately or attack, as compared to having to take the scenic route around. But otherwise, like a regular 2-move Phobie, like a 1-key, like a cowbell that we see getting exploded here, would still not be able to attack. It's just going to walk up. So I guess it's 6 and 1, half a dozen of the other for the majority of scenarios. But we do see the opposing Gravedigger briefly tempt fate. Nice, Maximus. Alright, so Jar is going to soften up this cat. Venus is probably on cooldown for traps, right? Yes. And we get more follow-up 1-drops, because we don't quite have this cat elimination. Now, the bigger issue with that... Oh, wow. We get an invade from the Snowball. We get a kill on the boom. That's kind of expected. That boom probably didn't need to be there. And we're going to see a takedown on the Gravedigger. This is probably the game. Now, granted, we're still early on. There's 12 keys for both players. 9 banked for our orange player. 9 banked for our blue player. But, like, that's a lot of board position lost. A lot of tempo lost. We do get some trades. And we get some additional traps going down. And this isn't... You know, our blue player's losing health-wise, but that's not a humongous deal. We actually get a sheep follow-up, and I gotta ask, why did the sheep show up here? Like, yes, there are 2 undeads. There's also a Bowmangles, and clearly the sheep will shoo away the undead. But, oh no. That wasn't necessary, was it? It must have been necessary. No. Why meatball this jar? That must have just been a force of habit thing. I know Vazy, and if I don't go sheep, I lose momentum. Fair. I mean, if you know the matchup, that's reasonable. If no sheep, they go chuck. Interesting. I mean, they have 12 keys banked, and at this stage, to be honest, they probably could go chuck anyway. Yes, the sheep could connect, but I'm a little surprised. I guess I'm not that surprised killing the jar over damaging the sheep a lot, because you would have only been damaging it. You're not killing it. So we have our final 5 phobies for our blue player. It's Cassowary, Ginsting, Creep, Venus, and Sheep. Right now, only staring down a Gravedigger and a Bowmangles. But 12 keys banked. We're going to be seeing a lot of stuff. So the cowbell comes out. It's preparation for a future turn where these spaces get retaken. But right now, this is a little strange. So the sheep can go in here, reclaim this point, and I don't think anything can threaten it right away. It depends on, since player's indicating that player is aware that Vazy has access to Chuck. A Chuck here could just pop out on the vault and hit it twice. It depends on how much damage Chuck does. We don't know how big it is. We also... Yeah, this is a very healthy Gravedigger, so it would be unlikely that the sheep would immediately be able to run... Well, it wouldn't be able to get to the Chuck anyway if it started here. Wouldn't be able to get in and then poison it, so... Needs a little bit more distance. But in the meantime, we're getting some repositioning, and our blue player is going to have to do something. Either invade or recap one of these points. But unfortunately, being these are the last 5 phobies, everything's much more precious. I think Vazy's Chuck damage is 532. Oof, yeah, that's a pretty good Chuck. We see a great Noxious hit go down. It hits the Venus, which would take forever to get to the healing spot and get back in. It hits the Cassowary, and then you get the body block from the Gravedigger to protect the Noxious. Now, the invasion from the Bowmangles is kind of bold. That's kind of bold. But our orange player had keys to burn, and they elect to supplement with Klepto. This doesn't seem like an impossible position for our blue player to win from, but it's certainly not going to be easy. We get the counter kill onto the Gravedigger. The Bowmangles lives to die another day. And we get invasion from the Noxious. Who is it going after? Is the Bowmangles more damage? Okay, that makes sense. I was like, why didn't you Klepto? But the goal here is to actually eliminate something. There isn't enough damage coming down to truly threaten things. Oh, I like this play. This is a cool play from Vazy. So the invasion here means that Ginsting cannot take the stim. If the Ginsting could have taken the stim, it can bees. Well, it couldn't have bees. It would have been a regular attack. If it had bees, it would have been nuts, but bees from the stim. Instead, it's going to have to settle for 2 regular attacks. Although 2 regular attacks and the sheep hit might be enough? No, probably not. Probably not enough. The sheep hit is decent. Hits 2 things for a bunch of damage. The creep spit is going to secure the takedown on the Noxious, but we're looking at a sheep on lava against a Bowmangles that is still very much alive, a Klepto that can get into range, and the remaining cowbell. And of course, all the pressure from earlier in the game means that we're looking at just under 1,700 health on the Blue Heart. Now it's looking real dicey, on top of the splash damage from the Klepto. Ouchtown, population blue guys. Get a little cowbell reposition. It's in a super awkward spot for our blue player. Sheep goes down. I think we can see where this one's going. And in fact, it did go there. GG. So game 1 goes to Vazy. Let's jump into game 2. between player himself here in the blue trunks and our orange player, Vazy. They're zoning in on the big house, and player is actually electing to start with Bo Mangles, down 1 game, trying to pull this series back. Let's see if they can do it. So Bo Mangles or Stabby is very interesting here. I don't know how much I like it. It's a kind of an awkward angle. It's not a terrible angle, but it's not the same as on other maps where you can easily cover 2 points. Now, I guess you could park Bo Mangles on a point and then cover the other one, thereby covering 2 points. But we see the same opener from Vazy's last game. We get 1 drop, we get the snowball, immediately caps 2 points to 0. Oh, we got a little sock action. Sock Asin action. Whew, that's a tongue twister. And a boom. Once again, we see a boom. I don't know if player's going for the memes or if player has something in mind. I mean, this isn't the spider that pulls. Well, we do have a little poison action going down. I imagine a lot of this is really for just having 1 keys. And in fact, the 1 keys are able to invade and immediately flip things into our blue player's favor as far as panic points go, 3-2. We're getting many of the phobies that we saw in game 1 repeating. Spider withstanding and orange Bo Mangles. Or no, orange had a Bo Mangles in game 1. We get the Venus follow-up. Again, another map where there's a bunch of choke points that key traps could flip it. It didn't quite do it in the last game, but we'll see if it does it here. Jar laying down some fire onto the cat. It allows the panic points to once again be under our orange player's control. And we get a takedown on the spider, so it's 2 keys effectively for freezies so far. Now, that's not going to be the case because cat's going to go down, so it's only a -1 advantage. Disadvantage, I guess would be the better way to put it. And then we get the boom reclaiming the point. It reclaims points just as well as any other 1 drop because, you know, it's a body. But it's clearly not long for the world. And in the meantime, we get some follow-up. Now, I've seen a lot of people use Gesundheit on this map. I kind of go in and out of love with it. I'm not sure about it, to be perfectly honest. Sometimes it feels like it's exactly what you want and it's super powerful, and other times it just feels pointless. Which is kind of how these traps are going to feel right now. They're going to feel a little pointless because unless... Okay. We get the invade here from the Bo Mangles, which may seem a little weird. It's putting it in range of the opposing Bo Mangles, the opposing Jar for 2 hits, and a Fireball Spit. But the reason here is presumably to prevent this Henrietta from reclaiming the center point because it will die to the trap. So anybody out there who may be new to Phobies, if you stand on a trap and the trap kills you, the way the order of operations work is you will not reclaim the panic point. But we're getting an enormous amount of damage going down on this Bo Mangles. In fact, are we seeing a dead Bo Mangles? It's not quite dead, but we get a Ray Chargle's follow-up, which will ensure that takedown. Now, to be honest, I'm not real sold on the Ray Chargles. It gives you a little bit more mobility, and yes, it will pop mechanical stuff really well. However, is that truly worth it? I mean, here, we get a kill on that, we get some damage going down, we still have, now we have 2 sets of traps, and we get an erratic follow-up. My issue with bringing it back to Ray Chargles is, look at this, it's already down to 859 health. It's not long for this world. Again, it has an enormous amount of mobility because of the flying, but I don't know. It does do its job trading, well, not trading yet, but it's 5 keys killing the 3 key, as you kind of expect. I feel like any other ranged 5 key could have done the same thing. And it could have been a Stairmaster, it could have been a... Well, Stairmaster would have been much weaker, but puts out more damage normally. As opposed to requiring the electrical benefit. It could have been a Cyclops, you know. Now, instead, we see an invade here, which is going to result in both a dead Bo Mangles and a dead Ray Chargles. The Mangles is actually going to live through the erratic thanks to this Rambolina block, but I don't know. I'm not sure what this Rambolina is doing other than body blocking. The Rambolina is going to take 1 billion damage here. I don't think you can kill the erratic. Like, even if this all... Okay, never mind. I was going to say, even if it lived, I don't think it can kill the erratic. It's possible, but we're never going to see that. That world never happened. That alternate split universe is not ours, in fact. And instead, we see the final 5 Phobies from our blue player generating concession from our orange player. This was pretty well done. GG. So we're on to Game 3. Let's see who takes the series. All right, here it is. It's for all the marbles for the championship in Fright Night 2. In the blue corner, we have Vazy zoning in on Crypto against their opponent, Player himself, who has actually pulled the series back 1-1, hence why we're in Game 3. Let's see how it goes. Crypto is home territory for you? Yeah, some players seem to really like... I mean, everybody has their preferred maps, but some players really love certain maps. So, we get the Gravedigger opening into the cat. This is fairly standard from our orange player, but we get a Unicorn Bachelor opening from our blue player, a little more abnormal. But they are investing in traps early, which is interesting. The Bachelor positioning is also... I was going to call it odd, but I don't think it actually is. If you take the center, there's a chance that a Murder Wing just comes over, pops it, eliminates it, and then the cat just retakes the center. You're not really in a position based on the Gravedigger play to punish it. You don't have another 1-drop to immediately get in there. You might as well wait to get things in position. I like the Unicorn, a bit of a Venus counter. Is it? I mean, I get it. You can trap their traps, but it being a melee trap layer makes it complicated. I don't know if Vazy has access to their own Venus or other trap phobies, but honestly, I would rather have seen just about any other trap phobie if that is the intent. We'll see if that's how it shakes out. But we're getting a variety of 1-drops coming out of our orange player. Trying to maintain control of these panic points definitely makes sense. So we get the trap going down up here, trying to protect this Unicorn, I guess. So it doesn't appear that the Unicorn is really functioning as an anti-Venus at this stage. Maybe it will. And we didn't see the Bachelor invade, which I can kind of understand given the quantity of 1-drops on our orange player's side. The Bachelor going in and dying would have just resulted in, hey, the 1-drops come in and reclaim the point, so what's the point? So we get the Gravedigger going down and blocking off, I guess, on the bottom. And we get the Chuck. We've seen the keys being banked, although I didn't call it out. The Chuck is going to assume the position on the stem, and this is a big deal. This is a big deal. I've seen someone use Barzilla on Stim and Crypto that day tears were shed. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can get very nasty here. But speaking of nasty, we get the DT special in Blast-O-Matic. Wait a second. So it looks like Venus must have dropped a trap here. Because we had the trap from earlier from the Unicorn. Venus only moved 1. We don't see it on cooldown yet. Still not on cooldown. Still not on cooldown. So it looks like there must have been a trap that was laid there which eliminated this existing trap from the Unicorn. And since Venus only moved 1, I think it's logical to conclude that that's the case. The trap that's just placed is entirely cancelled, so no damage. The trap previously placed deals damage. Yes, because how I believe and to clarify for anybody out there on YouTube, if you place a trap on top of another trap, they will remove each other. But the initial trap will go off. Obviously, in this case, it would have been a friendly trap, so it's not going to deal any damage. It's not actually destroying it. It's instead activating it. It's similar to if you place a Gravedigger obstacle on it, or Mount Crushmore obstacle on it. It activates the trap. It doesn't destroy it. So we get actually a Gravedigger break, which is a pretty cool play to hit this Chuck, which is now down to just under 1,200 health. I'm not sure why this Chuck was getting all up and everything. Like, it could have been where this Henrietta is and been perfectly fine. So instead, we get a jar to finish this off. Henrietta's clearly going to take out the newly dead. And even gets to hit the... Oh, no. Chat or YouTube, if you're out there, I'm pausing this. Pause the video. Pause the video and see if you can predict what's about to happen. Because it's going to be bad news for that Chuck. Oh, no. You hate to see it. So the line attack from Blast-O-Matic, the DT special, it comes in, ignites this guy. Start the oh no TikTok music? Exactly. Now, the panic points are in favor of blue, but look at this. 4 keys remaining to 4 keys remaining. A 286 health Chuck. Like, yeah, the friggin' laser is right. That's exactly what Vazy was saying. So the hatred of the statues on this map is evident for all players. We get some repositioning. The Chuck is going to try and leech some life, but I imagine that players not going to allow that to happen unless they're able to go in and actually connect. Or I take it back. They're going to send in the cowbell. So how long is the cooldown on this? Wow. Friggin' laser comes back quick. That 1 turn cooldown, that comes back pretty quick. So, in the meantime, we're going to see Chuck laying down some fire, try and leech some life. Not bad, not bad. Not a huge amount, but the 1 key comes in, makes it panic point advantage blue once again. However, this still isn't looking spectacular. If I don't invade, there's no real way to hit the Chuck, so let him leech. Exactly. Like, there's no real reason not to. Now, in the meantime, we're getting friggin' lasers going down on the heart, but in order to set up that scenario, again, we need another 1 key from our orange player, which we do see, that's going to reclaim this point. Getting some repositioning here? I'm not sure exactly what the sheep wants to connect with, because right now it's going to be unable to connect with the Chuck. But if you were in range of the Chuck, I think the sheep just dies. So the sheep seem similar to Game 1, feels like it's... I mean, in Game 1 it was kind of a Hail Mary to a degree. Here it just doesn't seem like it's doing anything. Notably, though, it can heal. And we do get the AoE because, notably, Blast-O-Matic is, in fact, an AoE damage dealer. Now, we're going to have friggin' laser back up soon. We get a jar to reclaim the panic point. That's bold. It does allow an invade here, which I guess means a dead gravedigger? Which I guess is fine. Oh no, there was a trap on the center point. We can't see it because it's a replay, but player with the snipe on the jar. That hurts. That's crippling. That one is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Is that the game in and of itself? Probably. Probably. We get a takedown on the Gravedigger. We get the supplementary Gesundheit and Contortio. We got 2 keys remaining from our blue player, but it's basically Chuck against the world. And I don't think that's happening. The Chuck actually backs off. Honestly, this Chuck has been super aggro. Super aggro. Jar goop has been shed today. Absolutely. So we get the follow-up in 2-1 keys, including a newly dead. Definitely makes sense. We're clearly going to get the elimination here. We get another friggin' laser, which may seem odd. It's like, why not just kill the cowbell? Well, because we're down to 1,541 health on the blue heart. All those lasers add up. The lasers add up. Friggin' laser? Friggin' laser! And the problem is because of the way our orange player has... I mean, it's part of the way that this map goes down. Those line attacks just keep pressuring, and as the opposing player, you are forced into that position. You don't have a choice. You have to interact with it. So this one's gonna hurt. That one's gonna hurt. I imagine there's a trap going down on the center point here. I'm not real sure about that Blastomatic. Ah, okay. Blastomatic aggressively takes the center. There's really not much that Vazy can do about it. You can put down some damage onto the sheep and the Blastomatic, but this thing's going to be in range. Oh, no. No, not like this. They may be accepting the inevitable here. That may have been accepting the inevitable. Obviously, player could have just walked up and lasered if the newly dead wasn't there, but it allowed the Blastomatic to stay in this position, meaning that there was no chance to reclaim the point. Not like there really was a chance, but GG, we have Fright Night, number 2's champion. Congrats to player himself, and thank you to all the players for coming out. If you're interested in getting in on a future Fright Night tournament, hit up the Randoms Thoughts Discord. It'll be in the description of this video. But that's going to do it for this one, so as always, everybody, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and Black Lives Matter.